The outstanding model is South Africa's president who forgave the apartheid leaders. I beg your pardon. The outstanding model is South Africa's president, Nelson Mandela, who forgave leaders and agents of the apartheid regime when South Africa transitioned to multiracial democracy in 1994. He did not directly forgive in the name of the others or make into a formal program or procedure, but rather his example inspired many others to forgive. A quotation extracted from the National Interplatform Priority Number 3 of Reconciliation and Rebuilding a War-Torn Country. Good morning to you all, brothers and sisters on the African continent. Bob the Mechanic on this 25th day of October, year 2025. We give thanks and praise to our Heavenly Father, being the Master Architect, for loving us to see the light from the sun yet again on this very day in our continued effort to free ourselves from the bondage of dictatorship. So, brothers and sisters, we glorify the loving kindness of our Heavenly Father. Yet again today, a revolutionary campaign train. It is still in the northern side of Uganda, and according to the post I've seen this morning from His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu page, indicating that today they are taking the message to the people of Chana and Kole respectively, that is northern Uganda, apparently in Lango sub-region or Greater Lango. So brothers and sisters, our brothers in northern Uganda, far north, you understand it is the revolutionary campaign train in your areas, so come out in big numbers to receive the message, and by doing so, you are sending a reverberating message to the foreign regime of dictator Yoweri Museveni, showing him that you have no space in our midst anymore. We have endured your vice, leadership for quite a long time. Good morning to you, my sister Kathy Adams. Good morning, good morning. It's always a pleasure. I hope you all slept well with all yours, in our continued effort, to free ourselves. Indeed, it is incumbent on us to do something, to do that which is inside us, the inner urge that impels us to speak nothing but truthfulness. So, brothers and sisters, yesterday we witnessed an event whereby on his way to the northern side of Uganda, His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu passed by at the tombstone of the former president of the Republic of Uganda, His Excellency Milton Obote Opeto Boete, and he paid tribute. He went there to the grave. He laid a wreath of flower, or a wreath of flower, and he laid a Uganda flag at the grave of Milton Obote alongside his son Jim Akena. Jim Akena, he is the president of the UPC, Uganda's People's Congress, second to the eldest political party, that is DP in Uganda political realm. So they went there to pay tribute. As you know, that was a sign of reconciliation in its commencement. So brothers and sisters, His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, as always, he has been walking the talk. He has been walking the talk. Whatever he says that we are willing to implement this, he does it exactly so. The sign of reconciliation, it is in sight. You understand? So when we reflect on the history of the Republic of Uganda pertaining matters of leadership, Mr. Obote has got a stain in it. But since man without deceit is as rare as fish without bone, we do not dwell to the past, but we do not forget them, but rather we extract lessons there to learn You understand? We extract lessons from the past and we apply to the present in preparing for the future. Not these same mistakes to be repeated. In his new aphorism, Kyagulanyi Ssentamu indicated that history teaches, but wicked people deliberately refuse to learn, and that only wicked people repeats history. But people who are so eager to learn, it is not likely to repeat history because they learn therefrom. So what we learned from history, it is a sign that our country for quite a long time, it was deeply divided on the basis of tribal sentiments, ethnicity differences, and indifferences, and largely created by a person, an outsider, whom the people of Uganda did not know exactly who he was. To our realization, having observed the events, the historical moments Uganda have endured, we came to a common, conclusion that the instigator of all this divisionism, it was none other but Mr. Museveni, Yoweri Kaguta. So the divisions Kyagulanyi Ssentamu is trying to bridge, it has a lot to do with the sense of reconciliation, and it aligns nicely with their manifesto priority number 3, to rebuild a war-torn nation. You understand? So brothers and sisters, as you saw him with, there would have been a fellow contestant, that is Jim Akena. We saw him with Jim Akena going to the graveyard of Jim Akena's father to pay respect for the service he rendered for the progressing of the Republic of Uganda. There were a lot of sentiments created with regards to Mr. Obote and his invasion of the then mighty Buganda Kingdom main palace, that is Mengo, in 1966, which turned the political realm of Uganda into a mess up to date, and we are still grappling with those events. The aftermath of those events are not forgotten, and they are still deep into our hearts. So, brothers and sisters, a sense of reconciliation, it is always a trajectory that leads to the reunification and for forgiveness of the wrongs committed by individuals who served in those regimes respectively to the current one, which has surpassed the rest that committed atrocities against its people. The current one, it was embedded in those regimes that served the Ugandans prior to the current one. So the knowledge and the historical records indicates that Mr. Museveni undoubtedly was the man who instigated, who facilitated, who orchestrated and executed all despicable deeds which were attributed to both Obote and Amini's regimes respectively. So brothers and sisters, a process of reconciliation, the reunification of the Republic of Uganda, it is in progress undoubtedly, and it is being accompanied by the revolutionary campaign train. The revolutionary campaign train which is disseminating the information, the message of bringing people of the Republic of Uganda with their, divergent views pertaining matters of leadership, and to be converged into a notion known as a protest vote. So brothers and sisters, we see this materializing in real time. It is not because of of not being aware of it, it is because of our participation in its materialization. So, brothers and sisters, let us continue amplifying the notion of protest vote, as you all aware in their manifestation. In their manifesto, the National Unity Platform continues to inform the people of the Republic of on unity, not unity on diversity. So the moment we regain and maintain unity, you will see how Ugandans diversify in their multiracial ethnicity. So, brothers and sisters, the reason why National Unity Platform pointed out one outstanding model in the politics of Africa, that of Nelson Mandela, when South African people transitioned into a multiracial democracy, it was that sense of letting go. Having suffered for 27 years in Robben Island prison, Mandela did not feel that sense of entitlement to cling on to power. He had to let go to set a precedent from which other African leaders can emulate or deduct and apply accordingly, in accordance to the environment in which they lead. So, brothers and sisters, Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, he is an example worth emulating. No wonder most of the people, old, young, rich and poor, they are all converging to embrace his political ideology, that is National Unity Platform. The word in the middle, supplement each and everything which is in priority number 3, unity. Unity, which is driven by reconciliation. So, brothers and sisters, all of you brothers and sisters in northern Uganda, please open your hearts. Open your hearts. You are all entitled to the political ideology you subscribe to currently, but the moment you open your minds and make it free from the preconceived political notions or ideologies based on tribal sentiments and regional political dominance, then you will compare the ideology being driven by National Unity Platform, and then by means of melt, you will either discard the preconceived political ideology and embrace the unifying one which embeds a word, unity. Platform, meaning that your voice will be heard because the platform unified the multiracial ethnicities in Uganda. So, brothers and sisters, National Unity Platform, it is a political ideology that is entitled, that is geared up, that is anchored to unifying the people so deeply divided by ethnicity sentiments. So, brothers and sisters, let us embrace it wholeheartedly. Let us embrace it wholeheartedly. Let us act in accordance to their manifesto, given the fact that they are championing, they are, putting on the forefront the article number 1 in our constitution, that the power of the people, the will of the people must prevail in all circumstances. Not to say that people will decide what to do. The will of people is meant to safeguard the well-being of our constitution. If our statutes, laws, and regulations are well kept by the majority, means that no leader will be able to tamper with our constitutions. They promised us that once assume power in 2026, they will put a caveat, they will ring fence the constitution, that any leader, any subsequent leader who will ever contemplate to tamper with the Constitution or to molest the Constitution for that matter will be charged with treasoners. Brothers and sisters, isn't that sound so philosophically generational in mechanism? Indeed, it sounds philosophically national unity platform. It is the remedy to the empathy of leadership of which we have endured for the past 40 years. Brothers and sisters, on the African continent, what brought me before your screen this very moment, it is a post which was posted by the International Criminal Court on its visitation in Uganda on the 22nd October, and the visitation lasted for 2 days. So the visitation was led by the President of International Criminal Court, Her Excellency, the President of ICC, Tomoko Akena. The name sounds so Japanese, national. And the second Vice President, Alupin Gasou Reine, that was the Vice President who accompanied the President of International Criminal Court on their visitation to Uganda on 22nd October up to 24th October. So brothers and sisters, during their visitation, they met with the representatives of Mr. Museveni's rotten regime, a regime which is characterized by circumstantial evidence as a regime of murderers, a regime of robbers, a regime of, cabinet ministers who only, embraces dissertation and extortion. You understand? So when these representatives met the delegation from the International Criminal Court, in those representatives of the of Museveni's government, we need to be clear with these words, because we, the people of Uganda, generally, we ostracized Museveni's government on the 14th of January, year 2024. So, Mr. Norbert Mao, Mr. Kiryowa Kiwanuka, Mr. Owini Dolo, Mrs. Flavia Nzeije, Mr. and Mrs. Milligan Black, Museveni's ambassador to the International Criminal Court. It does not represent the aspirations of the people of the Republic of Uganda, who in actual sense are supposed to be the government. You understand? So, Mr. Norbert Mao, Museveni's current Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, and Mr. Museveni's current Attorney General, Kiryowa Kiwanuka, Mr. Museveni's ambassador to the International Criminal Court and Hague, respectively, Milligan Black, the Solicitor General who serves Museveni's interest, Mr. Pius Perry Bilibonwaha, and the Permanent Secretary for Uganda's Foreign Affairs, Mr. Bajire Vincent. Those are the representatives of Museveni that met with the delegation from the International Criminal Court. So the International Criminal Court visited Uganda. On the other people the UN met, there was the United Nations Resident Coordinator, His Excellency Mr. Leonard Zulu, and the Deputy Director General of the United Nations African Institute for Prevention of Crime, Mr. Munanula Andrew Kalokola. Those people they went and they met or welcomed the delegation from the International Criminal Court. And the reason of that visitation, it was in line with the request of Uganda's government to prosecute and try Joseph Kony, the leader of LRA rebels, right? So the complaints were filed by the Ugandan government in 2003. 2003, I beg your pardon, in 2003, and according to the International Criminal Court, the president indicated that once the accusation were leveled at Joseph Kony, the International Criminal Court offices in Uganda started conducting its investigation, and it concluded its investigation in December 2004. So it forwarded its docket to the International Criminal Court this year in, I think it was June. That is when the International Criminal Court opened the pre-trial hearings in absentia of the accused person. We heard what transpired therefrom. So their visitation had a lot to do with the ongoing Kony Museveni, the prosecutor, versus Joseph Kony, and the prosecutor again versus Ongwen Vincent, the prosecutor versus Ongwen Vincent. These two individuals, the government of Museveni leveled complaints against them in the International Criminal Court. Brothers and sisters, today, our esteemed leader, His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, the legitimately elected president of the Republic of Uganda from year 2021 up to year 2026, is in the northern side of Uganda, the area which was well indicated in Manifesto Priority Number 3 as the areas which were devastated by internal conflicts generated by the unequal distribution of natural resources in the country and the persecution and the ethnicity cleansing being orchestrated by Mr. Museveni. Today, His Excellency is in those regions to bring back the minds of the people of the Republic of Uganda who resides in northern part of Uganda. And the divisions and the sentiments which caused the division, they were driven by then, and it is still maintained today by the current regime of dictator Yoweri Museveni. When he spoke with the people whom he met while traveling in the Far East region, the war claimants of the Iteso land, they narrated what they have been enduring ever since Museveni captured power. They narrated how their livestock were confiscated. They narrated how their land are being grabbed on a daily basis. They narrated how their vibrant young men and women were massacred solely to lessen their population in the region. And all of this were facilitated, executed by NRA rebels. That is a consistence of Museveni's, refugees from Rwanda. So, brothers and sisters, the conflicts that have retarded the nation Uganda largely, it has a lot to do with the former refugees in Rwanda who occupied the positions of leadership in the country known as Uganda currently. So, the National Unity Platform Reconciliatory Program, which is ongoing embedded in the campaign trail, it is real crucial, and we must amplify it, and we must read it and understand all the clauses therein. I remember the memorandum of understanding reached upon by the people of ITESO and the leadership of National Unity Platform. Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, remember, he does not promise things as an individual. He promised service delivery to Ugandans as an organization of National Unity Platform. He does not use the phrase I, he will use the phrase we will as National Unity Platform, as a leadership, deliver and compensate the people whose lives were shattered by these uncalled for wars that engulfed Uganda for the past 40 years. Ever since Museveni captured power, the wars never stopped. They continue. The format, and the tricks being used to fight this war, that is which varies. But the orchestrator and the agendas of the war still the same: to occupy a land that offered Rwandese refugee when they were being persecuted by their very own. His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu's leadership indicated in their manifesto priority number 3 is that the spillover from the conflicts of DRC and Southern Sudan respectively affects the people of northern Uganda. He pointed out that the UPDF invasion of DRC, in their claiming of pursuing the ADF, have become a problem which suppresses the people of DRC and the bordering people in Uganda. The people of Southern Sudan, they are facing the same problem that Uganda's meddling into the internal politics of Southern Sudan continues to perpetuate the conflicts within the region. So the visitation of the International Criminal Court, though it was aimed at the files on the request of Mr. Museveni in 2003, to date, 22 years passed by. Now, the International Criminal Court is responding, but not to the current Museveni's violation of human rights, no. To those which Museveni reported in accusing Joseph Kony, a Ugandan, and the accuser is not a Ugandan, mind you. So, brothers and sisters, the resistance of Joseph Kony can be justified because we all know, according to the testaments of Mr. Kainda Otafile while at the burial ceremony of Adonia Tiberondwa in Kigezi region, that is western Uganda. Mr. Kainda Otafile came out and informed Ugandans in his normal senses that it is a pity that Ugandans, they don't know the history and the history of NRM particularly. Kainda Otafile went on to narrate how they tarnished the then regime of Obote by wearing the uniforms of national military and go and massacre the people in Ruwero, which is Ruwero Triangle, and massacre the people in troves, and massacre people in big numbers, solely to stain and tarnish the image of the regime of Obote Militon Doctor, the President of the Republic of Uganda. So meaning that if the conflicts that tormented the people in northern Uganda, it was done in the same strategy. You understand? To create a division between Langese and Buganda. Yesterday, we saw that unbreakable lineage, or that unbreakable link between Langese and the Baganda. by the mere fact that Milton Obote's wife was a Muganda. So then that unbreakable lineage between Langi and Buganda resurfaced yesterday at the grave of the former president of Republic of Uganda, Milton Obote Opito, Doctor. Meaning that Mr. Akena James, a man who betrayed his father's political ideology and signed a contract with the devil, which is responsible for persecuting his father up until his death in Zambia, Lusaka. Jim Akena, he is a grandson in Buganda, right? Because of his mother. So that leaning within Buganda, it is unbreakable in spiritual and in blood. But the political ideology, subversion, and the entrenchment of Mr. Museveni's evil ideology into the UPC, it cuts a doubt whether indeed spiritually and physically Mr. Jimmy Akena means exactly to embrace the reconciliatory program which National Unity Platform is driving right now, as well articulated in its manifesto priority number 3. My brother Jim Akena, the people of Uganda have surpassed the level of ethnicity differences, the level of political ideology indifferences. They have transcended those kind of petty limitations. What we are aiming at, it is the national unification and reconciliation. This is why His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, prior to address all the people, he went and paid tribute to the icon of the region largely, that is Obote. That is Obote. To pay tribute, to show that we are all fallible as sons and daughters of mankind. That we must not be characterized by the past, not to negate them, but to learn from them, not to dwell upon them, but to create some limitations, that once somebody surpasses this limit, he is going to go into the history which is not good. So by going to the grave and speaking spiritually to the spirit, to the soul, and to the mind of Obote, to tell him that, Father, Elder, where you went wrong, you were forgiven. Where you went wrong, you were forgiven. But help us reunite the vision you had. The vision that brought the independence of Uganda. That was to unite Uganda beyond its ethnicity boundaries. Thus, we came up with a well-unified Uganda. And we say, for God in our country, by the grace of the Most High, that led Kyagulanyi Ssentamu to go and clean the tombstone of Obote, who is viewed in Uganda in a different way, in Buganda differently. That goes on to show that Buganda does not hold grudges. That Museveni, what Kyagulanyi Ssentamu promised you, that the only option you have, Mr. Museveni, that the only option you have, it is to relinquish power and leave the people of Uganda determine their future. Mr. Museveni, you know very well you are not a Ugandan. Mr. Museveni, you know very well you are not a Ugandan. But the people of Uganda are so forgiving. They are so loving. That is why you were able to grow. That is why you were able to receive education. That is why all the scholarships were there. and were used to elevate your ethnicity, filthy as it is in its mindset, to attain at least education, at least civilization, of which you denied to utilize to the betterment of the people that embraced you. You misinterpreted the kindness of Ugandans, which is the image of God, for weakness. And you thought they were so stupid. And you thought they would never know who you were. Mr. Museveni, to this day, indeed, he said that, Mr. Museveni, Uganda was here before you. And Buganda, and Uganda, and Lango, Acholi, Busoga, Bukedi, everywhere, Ankole, they will all remain long after you're gone, Mr. Museveni. You went 5 years ago. Your regime fell, Mr. Museveni. We won you from the battle. But we've been fighting the war for the past 5 years, and we're still fighting the war up until 2026, when we are going to take you out of power by this overwhelming voting in the favor of Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. Therefore, on your way out, Mr. Museveni, you don't need to burn Uganda down, because Uganda never wished anything evil towards your people. Uganda never wished you bad. Uganda always wanted your offspring to stay in amicable peace with all of us. Mr. Museveni, you know very well that Norbert Mao, who received the president of the International Criminal Court, he is a man who is biting his words. He is a man who testified against your orchestrating of the atrocities in northern Uganda. Oh, Mr. Museveni, in a documentary titled A Brilliant Genocide, Norbert Mao is recorded, quoted, to have said how you were behind each and everything. Norbert Mao, history does not forget. And history, it is always there to be deducted from, to apply to solve current conflicts. You understand? So the deduction of history, particularly from the statement you made in that documentary, A Brilliant Genocide, they are going to be used against you in the tribunal of inquest after 2026. International Criminal Court, Your Excellency Tomoko, Your Excellency Tomoko Akene, we are telling you that a man who received you alongside Museveni's ambassador in ICC, Milijan Black, those are the people who are now concealing. These are the people who, for a long time, have been blocking the petitions the people of Uganda have been sending to the International Criminal Court with regards to this, our combatism from 2022, from 2020 up to 2025. All the atrocities, all the massacring of people of Museveni are being concealed by Miliaj Black and Mr. Norbert Mao, plus Museveni's Attorney General, that is Cleopa Kiwanuka. Those are the people you met. The Deputy Chief Justice, Miss Flavia Nzeije. These are people who are responsible for besieging the judiciary in its entirety. The entire delegation of International Criminal Court, I'm not so sure whether you left Uganda or you're still there. But since you indicated and you expressed your appreciation of Uganda's International Criminal Court Office, their participation in providing the necessities to the International Criminal Court in its operation. It is this sense that I'm using right now to convey a message to you and say that indeed all the representatives of the government you met and spoke to, those are the people who are concealing the criminality despicable in their mechanism of Mr. Museveni for the past 40 years. International Criminal Court, you went on to indicate that you met with the United Nations representative. You went on to indicate that the delegation had a word with the United Nations Resident Coordinator, His Excellency Leonard Izulu. So, if the Resident Coordinator of United Nations indeed informed you, not only in the case of Joseph Kony and Vincent Ogwen, but in the case of the ongoing rampant abduction of the citizens of Uganda, I wish the United Nations Residence Coordinator, Kampala Bureau, told you of the ongoing persecution of political opponents, of all political prisoners who are languishing in jail, the persecution of young men and women of Uganda who ascribe themselves to the ideology of National Unity Platform, transparent as it is pertaining matters of leadership. I hope, Justice Tomoko Akena, I hope that the United Nations Resident Coordinator in Kampala informed you of these irregularities in our communities respectively. That Museveni continue abducting young men and women. That Museveni overcrowded the prisons. That is a crime against humanity. That Museveni, a warmonger, a man who poisoned the water in Luwelo Bush War. That is why the National Inter-Platform Reconciliatory Program looks to find out what really happened. In their promise, in a new Uganda, they said that they are going to initiate and establish a commission that will conduct each and every evidence that took place. How many people who were killed? Who indeed were the orchestrators? Who were issuing orders who to be killed and which area to be decimated, as it all indicated in those files Museveni leveled against Joseph Kony, as you read it in the International Criminal Court. Villages were incinerated. Villages were incinerated. Evidence indicates in the brilliant genocide that Museveni created a situation and forced all the dwellers of those areas into IDP camps. And then the insurgents, the so-called insurgents came in the IDP and massacred people within the IDP. So, to a judge, the mind acquainted with the psychological understanding, how comes that if the state of Museveni and the security operative of Museveni had sensed danger and saw it worthy that these individuals must be encamped here, The man would think that the intentions were to create safe havens for the dwellers of the land, not to be massacred by the insurgents, right? So how comes that when the Uganda security forces were keeping these camps, how comes that these people were massacred? How comes that were massacred? These actually were encamped to be well killed. By encamping the people, it was collecting them from their remote areas, not one to be left there, so that they can be massacred, of which they accomplished. All the pictures you see, Kony did not kill his own people. We saw Joseph Kony in a recorded voice and video speaking and say, fellow Ugandans, how comes that I can kill my own brothers and sisters? International Criminal Court, International Criminal Court, International Criminal Court. Judge Tomoko Akena and your second vice president in Uganda, we are saying we don't have a voice. We don't have the documents that is accepted in the International Criminal Court. But what we have, it is the weapon of truthfulness, of which we are determined to get our freedom, or at least die trying. That Museveni massacred the Ugandans relentlessly because he is not attached to them whatsoever. That Museveni massacred the people of northern Uganda because of his want to occupy the land and annex Uganda to Rwanda. International Criminal Court and your sister, International Court of Justice, we are saying Mr. Museveni committed all the atrocities. Mr. Museveni conducted all the genocides. And Mr. Museveni currently still carrying out ethnic cleansing in Upper region as we speak. Our esteemed leader is in those regions. The delegation of International Criminal Court spoke to the members who were affected by this war spillover, the communities of those people. I wish if you would publicize the things which were spoken by those who you meet. And I'm quite sure, according to the organization of Nobati Mau, they must have staged people who are claiming to be victims of the war, and they were not victims. I'm suspecting that. I'm suspecting that the people whom you claim to have met as the victims of these conflicts were just staged by Nobati Mau, Kiriowa Kiwanuka, Flavia Nzeije, and Museveni's permanent secretary for foreign affairs. Museveni's permanent secretary for foreign affairs. So the current Minister of Internal Affairs, Kaindo Tafile, narrated the story of which must be used in the impeachment or the indictment of Mr. Museveni and his entire NRA rebel group. They committed crimes against humanity. They continue their violation of human rights on an unimaginable scale. Please, International Criminal Court, judge in the favor of the Republic of Uganda. It has taken you 2.2 decades to respond to what Museveni said. Tell me, indeed, tell me, if the International Criminal Court was really working in the favor and the stabilization of these regions on the surface of the earth, why did it take 22 years, 23 years to respond to the massacre of that magnitude? Yeah? To respond to the massacre of that magnitude. Ethnicity cleansing, wiping out villages. Mr. Museveni used Mr. James Kazini, whom he killed himself, and they initiated what they termed as Operation Iron Fist. It was conducted by the current presidential candidate, Mugisha Muntu, the late James Kazini, and they issued a warning. Mr. James Kazini and Mr. General Mugisha Muntu, they told the people of northern Uganda that all of you must come to the camp. Anybody who stays outside of the camp will be a collateral damage because we want to surround Kony. They knew exactly that Kony, it was a scapegoat. And everything they did, it was done under the guise of Kony. But Kony never killed his own people. Mr. Museveni, Mr. Salim Saleh, General Mugisha Muntu, Mr. Tumukunde Henry, Mr. Temukunde Henry, Mr. Kahinda Otafire, Mr. Kare Kihura, General Kare Kihura, all of you, Abel Kandiho, all of you, Museveni soldiers, Mr. Captain Michael Mukula of the Iteso side, you are all equally responsible for the perpetuation of ethnic cleansing, of genocide tendencies, and the massacre of people in Uganda. International Criminal Court, Museveni, we accuse Museveni for killing innocent people and burn them into the train wagons in a region known as Mukula. The International Criminal Court, we accuse Museveni for cooking people, young children, in the pots and force the people of northern Uganda to eat the flesh of their fellow human being. International Criminal Court, we accuse Museveni during the Bush War of Luwelo Triangle for cooking babies in the bubbling pot of porridge to instill fear because the people had rejected to allow their children to enlist into Museveni's militia. So he had to instill fear in them. That action correlates nicely with the confession of Mr. Kaindo Tafile while burying Adonia Tubirondwa in I forgot the dates, but it was in Western Uganda. And actually, His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu reiterated it while speaking at the people of Apak, while speaking with the people of Apak. He reminded them that the hatred Northerners has towards Baganda, it was created, it was a stereotype. It was a stereotype that Museveni, he came up with phrases. International Criminal Court, Museveni came up with a phrase known as Anyanya. And that phrase made the people of Buganda to hate the people of northern Uganda because Museveni said, Anyanya are killing you. We didn't know anything up until this digitized era that information is spilling out. All the elder fathers and mothers are telling us what they knew about Museveni, which they feared to speak during those days. International Criminal Court, African Union, the Pan-African Parliament, East African Community, we are telling you, your silence perpetuates atrocities on the continent of Africa. Fellow Africans, come to think of it. The rate of civil wars in Western Africa, it is diminishing. But the perpetuation of civil conflicts in Eastern Central Africa, it is on the rise. You know why? Because Mr. Museveni and Mr. Kagame, Mr. Ruto and Samia Suluhu, they have immense influence in African Union and the East African community respectively. Speaking of Pan-African Parliament, currently a man who has been representing Museveni's aspiration in the Pan-African Parliament, that is Abdul Kantuntu. This is a man who boldly defected and joined a murderous regime. And all along, he has been duping the people of Uganda that he has been serving in their interests. We received credible information indicating that Mr. Abdul Kantuntu, he is one of the recognized statesmen to whom the United Nations, to whom African Union, to whom World Bank and IMF call and ask regarding the stability of the people of the Republic of Uganda, regarding the well-being of the people of the Republic of Uganda. Now, Ugandans, what kind of message would Mr. Kantuntu present to the International Criminal Court when he is also trapped into the spoil of Museveni? Brothers and sisters, fellow Ugandans, failing to embrace the notion of protective vote, it is a betrayal and it is a grave mistake which will resurface in the lives of our great-great-grandchildren. If we fail to combat Museveni, to take him out of our political institution, there won't be any excuse that we've been busy pursuing wealth. There won't be any excuse that you are busy pursuing to be rich. Tell me whether your wealth will benefit you in an environment which is unsafe. Fellow Ugandans in diaspora, you can imagine bankers who are working in Switzerland, Swiss bank. Those people concealed Museveni's spoil in trillions and trillions of shillings, in billions of US dollars. But when they come back to Uganda, and Museveni was fearful, we know, according to our studies in his ideology, they do not leave any trace where they have passed, because any of their footstep in an area, it is characterized by the spilling of blood. So they want to erase and remove that trail. So these bankers, a wife and a husband, as they retired from Swiss Bank, they were massacred months after their retiring back to their homeland. They were killed brutally. They were massacred brutally because they knew much about Museveni's financial transactions. They knew much about Museveni's financial transactions. He killed them. That is the reward of a murderer. Milijan Black, much as we are on a list to be eliminated by Museveni, but whoever worked with Museveni is on a list to be eliminated. Million Black, you are on a list. Mr. Nobody Mau, you are on a list. The information indicates that you have been promised to become the next Speaker of Parliament, to deputize either Tayebwa or Tayebwa to deputize you. African Union, Mr. Thomas Tayebwa, the deputy speaker, the deputy person. I don't want to use the word speaker because these people, we do not recognize them as the people of Uganda, right? Our legislature is under siege. So, by the lack of word that can describe them, allow me to use the same word, deputy speaker, Thomas Tayebwa, a man who is known to be abusing law. You can imagine a civil servant went to claim to read the meter of electricity, only to find that Mr. Thomas Taebwa was not paying utility bills. As obliged under their rules of engagement, once you find anybody who defaults the utility bills, you have to disconnect that person. When a civil servant electrician climbed the pole to disconnect the solid that supplies electricity to Mr. Thomas Taebwa's residence, Mr. Thomas Taebwa beat thoroughly that man. He battered the man. He battered the man. As you see, the police bat journalists. As you see, the police beat each and everybody. Mr. Thomas Taebwa, he is the now deputizing the Speaker of Parliament. The Speaker of Parliament was seen abducting two contestants of the parliamentary seat she occupies right now. And she manipulated the Electoral Commission and declared herself to be unopposed from that area. From the constituents of Bukedi, she came as unopposed. So is Thomas Taebwa, who deputizes her. You can see the chronology of vices being institutionalized in a country. The chronology of vices being institutionalized before Uganda Law Society, before Uganda civil societies, before Uganda's religious council. Most of these vices are being institutionalized before these bodies respectively. Now, come to think of Uganda Religious Council. When you hear a word religious, automatically you picture God, right? And religious, in its broadness, indicates that God, He is the creator. He regulates the breath of life. So tell me, how comes that religious leaders are not able to hold Museveni accountable? And tell him that stop killing the people, Mr. Museveni, stop killing the people. Religious leaders have refused. So how comes that the parliament, the affairs of the country are being presided over by vice leaders, not the vices which are not known by the general public? The general public knows that exactly. Are in those crimes which are impeachable? Can't we impeach Anita Among? Can't we impeach Thomas Taebwa? Can't we impeach Museveni? Can't we impeach Museveni? He is no longer a president. He is no longer a president. Each and every law in the country can now impeach him. Why don't we utilize this very moment? You heard the delegation from International Criminal Court did not meet the Chief Justice because the Chief Justice is a Ugandan native and the Deputy Chief Justice is a Rwandese. That is the one who went to meet the delegation from the International Criminal Court. You can see the imbalancing, the nepotism being explained by National Unity Platform that while appointing government officials, it shall be based on merit. It shall be based on merit, not on nepotism, not on connections. No, it must be merit-based and the ability and the willingness of somebody to serve in accordance with the credentials that allows somebody to serve in the position. Nepotism must be eradicated. Must be eradicated. You can see that Flavian Nzeije serves the interests of Rwandese who occupies Uganda's political, sphere. Nzeije, she's the one who was given a chance to meet the delegation from the International Criminal Court. Nobody Mao, a man who defected, a man who is, I don't know, Nobody Mao, your projection. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I don't know, Norbert Mao, after all you've seen, you betrayed Lokech. He was killed. He was killed. You stayed on. He was killed. You can see, Norbert Mao, they told us, you are the one who's serving currently as Prime Minister. Though you are labeled to be Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. We know. For the past 5 years, you've been serving. When Museveni wants to falsify something, he sends you in the United Nations. He sends you at Hague. He sends you everywhere where he wants to falsify, because they don't have Rwandese who are well substantiated to articulate matters of that magnitude. You understand? So what we are saying, global citizens, what we are saying, isolation, what we are saying, we will be free. We will be free. Fellow Ugandans, let us do what we are supposed to do. Let us embrace protestive vote. The people of Achan and the people of Kole, respectively, today you are with the revolutionary train. Please embrace it. Internalize the message being spoken to you, because it is based on nothing but truthfulness. His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu says that the work commences when we ostracize Museveni. Then we will start to work non-stop for the past 10 years, the entirety of his, administration or tenure. It is going to be a hard-working hustle. Blue collars, let the white collars do their job. But the immense work, it's on our shoulders as blue collars. Blue collars, brothers and sisters, we're going to put on our overalls. We're removing Museveni within overalls. After Museveni is done, we wear the overalls of reconstructing Uganda. Thus, in their artistic understanding, they had to make an adjustment in a song, a motivation song. When the struggle is over, we shall wear the victor's crime and we shall enjoy in a new Uganda. They saw it that enjoyment comes after hard working. Thus, they had to alter that phrase that in the new Uganda, we will work as opposed to enjoy. Thus, when the struggle is over, we shall wear the victor's crown. We shall wear the victor's crown. We shall wear the victor's crown. When the struggle is over, we shall wear the victor's crown. In the new Uganda. In the new Uganda, we're going to work so hard. May the Lord be with you, brothers and sisters. May the Lord be with the human race. May the Lord descend down to the hearts, to the minds, and to the spirits of leaders in the International Criminal Court, on the leaders in the Pan-African Parliament, in the leader of ANC, to tell Mr. Museveni that stop killing the people. The more you create an environment which is not conducive, the more influx of foreigners we grapple with here in South Africa. Undoubtedly, the reason why we free our countries, it has a lot to do with the political understanding, because politics determines the economic stability. Joel Sanyoni indicated that Uganda's economic future hinges on the restoration of its physical discipline, the eradication of wasteful spending, the eradication of extravagant spending, and to put to an end this chronicle of underfunding, essential social services such as health, such as education, such as water and sanitation largely. So, meaning, fellow Ugandans, we have to work so hard. May the Lord be with you. May the Lord continue instilling the love of our country. Oh, Don, Wagwan Don, my first time to see you right here on the screen during presentation. I'm so happy to see you, Don. Wagwan so. Wagwan so. What's up? What's up? I think you are with the engineer down there at the site. Man, fellow Ugandans, the people of Akko, the people of northern Uganda, let us take away all those tribal sentiments and divisionism. It has been perpetuated by Museveni on a purpose. On a purpose. The more we unite, he does not have any chance to set a foot in our land because he's not recognized. He is not recognized anywhere. He does not have any ancestral background. How can we allow such a rag, such a filthy creature which is not traceable, a filthy creature which is cultureless, a filthy creature whose tradition is just characterized by spilling innocent blood? Why should we allow that nonsense to stay in our midst? Let us embrace National Unity Platform wholeheartedly, homie. Wholeheartedly, homie. Young brothers and sisters, daughters and sons, the war, it is ongoing. In conclusion, Hermetic philosophy. It is man's inner guide that cries out for freedom. It is this voice that speaks in the silence of man's soul with the courage that is born of conviction. This is the present that says, I resolve, no autocrat, no despot shall coerce my liberty. No tyrant, no dominant ruler shall claim my freedom. No vile wielder of bloody weapon shall break my godlike will. These gifts are mine to use with judgment and desecration for the greatest good of impoverished and enslaved Ugandans. Again and with like force, the real South sing its song of freedom on the altar of independence. Protestive vote, opportunity, or pot of unity, brothers and sisters. That is the convergence of our divergent political views to be made to ostracize Museveni. Protestive vote, make no mistake, fellow combatants. It is the converging point of our divergent political understanding and aspirations to a common goal, that is to remove that which does not belong to us in our midst. May the Lord be with you, brothers and sisters, the people of northern Uganda. The revolutionary campaign train, it is within your region. Embrace it wholeheartedly. It is the manifestation of the light of God. Dear Lord, graciously hear us.